screaming.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
You're in violation of secure communication procedures, Commodore.
So we just went ahead and fixed the glitch.
There is no America. There is no democracy.
Our fifth objective, a new world order.
There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West.
Right-wing conspiracy.
What do you call it when the assassins accuse the assassin?
A new world order.
Thank you for plugging in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
Well, just a second there, Professor. We fixed the glitch.
I'm your host, Professor Thomas Henry Horan.
He reads everything.
What do you call it when... What passes for professional sports these days? What is baseball averaging? Good morning, you lucky devils. What? Major League Baseball average errors per game this season. They've stopped calling them errors. I'll get off of baseball for a second. The World Series is over. I know you people don't watch football, but the officiating in the National Football League it's not just a joke. It's blatantly obvious that it's all about the gambling. And football's really always been about the gambling. And professional sports has always been about the gambling. But the garbage we were served, first of all, there was the garbage we were served for a presidential election. Then there's the garbage we were served for a heavyweight title fight on Friday night. Words cannot describe. There are no words. There's no word for nothing. This was not a worthy adversary. It's not just professional sports, which don't matter. But they're the only... Maybe I'm getting old. What happened to the end of the world? I thought the world was supposed to end by now. But it hasn't ended. I want my money back on this whole end of the world thing. So Peacock is coming out with a new Charles Manson documentary. When is that coming out? Peacock, Charles Manson. There's Manson the Woman is already on Peacock. Because I know this is based on Buddy's interviews. No, directed by Billy Mintz. Well, it may have been produced by him. Making Manson? Here, you can look at this. Sharon Tata, who is 8.5 weeks pregnant. Okay, we need better. This is what I'm talking about. This passes for journalism these days. An unearthed prison phone call. Confessed to more murders, but he didn't murder anybody in the first place. So Making Manson, I don't know what this is about. I got no heads up about this. Why would I get a heads up? I have noticed this. I've noticed this. It's not just podcasters anymore. There are people making documentaries who have been watching my show. And I'm flattered. You don't have to sneak in. You can let me know. I'm not going to sue anybody. New details about him before his 4 days ago. Premieres Tuesday, November the 19th. What's today? Monday the 18th? Already? Well, I'm not going to have time to respond to this till after Christmas. I'm still trying to catch up with the garbage documentary about, I'm not saying this is garbage, but about this documentary about the Zodiac killer. So I know what you're thinking. Where's the next episode? It's coming. What happened was, here's the good news. The latest Junior Buckaroo has come up with the names of Jim Crabtree's actual family. His birth parents, both mother and father, and his pseudo-wives. So we've put our two heads together, and now you're going to see things, but that will come in the next few weeks. And also, damn it, thought I had this problem solved. Also, I forgot, I didn't realize until yesterday, I haven't shown you guys anything about Mike Mageau and his family. So, I'm hoping by tonight, there's one concurrent viewer. Hello. It's back to Arthur Lee Allen, and it's not so much Arthur. There's not much to say about Arthur Lee Allen. He's more overrated than Charles Manson, if you can believe that. But it's about his friend. It's about his brother Ron Allen and their friend Don Chaney. And about I don't know about Sandy Panzarella. You'll have to ask the other guys about Sandy Panzarella. Who knows? Maybe he unlocks the whole thing. I just don't know. But it's about Ron Allen, Don Chaney. There's another Ron Allen. And people have gotten the two confused. There are two Ron Allens. There are two of a lot of these people, which gets a little bit interesting. But I have to sort through all of that, and I have to show you. I have to split those hairs because this is really important. So it's not about Arthur. It's about his dad. It's about his, not so much about his mom for a change, but it's about Don Chaney, Paul Avery, Ron Allen, not just about Jim Crabtree. It's not just about his stepdad. Well, the truth, so we've clarified things. I've got a few things to set straight, but they matter a whole bunch. So what I'm doing now is I have to start doing like a different type of episode, really, because now I show you one slide about Arthur Lee Allen's dad, and then there's 22 slides that connects to that, coming from previous episodes and from future episodes. It's now getting to be this ball of rubber bands, and it's hard to know where to start to pull for you and for me. So all this new shit has come to light. I'll give you some hints. I keep hinting around this has something to do, not just with the aerospace industry, but specifically And not just specifically with Lockheed and all the companies that Lockheed has slowly absorbed over the years. Okay? It's very specifically about, before spy satellites, we had spy planes. Before Corona satellites, we had the SR-71, which is still flying around. We had the U-2, and before that, we had specially equipped B-17s, B-26s, B-29s. You have to know about all of that stuff. It's very specifically about the reconnaissance planes and satellites, about paperclip Nazi rocket scientists. Strangely enough, it's not about nuclear research so much. It's really not about nuclear weapons so much. It's all about, and what you're going to see in the next few episodes is really showing you how important that stuff really is, how important Lockheed is. Okay, so this goes all the way back to Lindbergh. Now, it's going to go back to before Lindbergh. We'll come back to all that stuff. You see what I mean? I don't know where to start. So I'm putting together an episode. I'll hopefully get it recorded today and get it up tonight to the members only. And it's just one after another. It's like one slide from the Ethan Allen episode, and then I have to show you like 22 other slides. Some of which you've seen before, some of which some of you saw before and new people haven't seen before, and some of which none of you have seen before. And like I said, I forgot that I hadn't shown you anything about Mike Mageau and his family. So you still need to read this book when you have time. The Myth of the Zodiac Killer. Because there was no serial killer, and it certainly wasn't Arthur Lee Allen. Oh, and speaking of Arthur Lee Allen, the Seawaters, and specifically Connie Seawater's in-laws. Honestly, if they thought, and it's pretty obvious, things have happened in the Zodiac cottage industry to try to desperately ignore me and everything I've ever shown people, not just in this book. So if you watch Netflix's This is the Zodiac speaking, not only do they not mention me or the possibility there was no Zodiac killer, all of the evidence, not just against Allen, but evidence for a serial killer that I debunk in this book, page after page after page, they ignore all of that. They ignore all of that. But if that's what they thought they were doing, trotting out the Seawaters was a huge mistake. Not that you people care about our little rivalries. That was a huge mistake. You will see why. You will see why. It's not just about the Seawater kids. They were victims, and they weren't just victims of Arthur Lee Allen. Their dad, Paul Seawater, is a convicted pedophile, too. That's what he was doing at Atascadero when he met Arthur Lee Allen in the first place, and that's why Arthur Lee Allen kind of took his place in the family. Well, he was already there. But when we talk about kids who have been groomed by this octopus inside the company, from Nancy Krebs on, that's what we're looking at. I don't mean to pick on the Seawaters, but that documentary, you people shouldn't have shown me those cards, because I'm really going to shove them up your wazoos now. Not the Seawaters. I don't blame them. I don't blame Arthur. Arthur is a victim. I'm not defending what he did. But, number one, not every abused child grows up to be an abuser, but every abuser was abused as a child. There's just no doubt about it. So it isn't just that these people know each other. It's not just that Paul Avery's dad knew Arthur Lee Allen's dad, and that Paul Avery and Arthur Lee Allen knew each other since childhood. It's also going back to Don Chaney. It's about their wives. Who are these people really? Who was Jim Crabtree? Who is Jim Phillips Crabtree really? Who are his parents really? Who really raised him, and who are those people really? This got so interesting, but there's so much of it. So there's no way I'm going to show all of it to you in a couple of episodes. Sorry, you're gonna get what you're paying for, and you need to start paying for it because you're gonna be missing it. So I'll try to get that done today. I just don't know where. This whole thing is so vast, man. But so much of this is very specific. And then you drag in the Rosenberg spy ring. So going after Darlene, going after Mike, going after Cecilia, going after Brian, going after Paul Stein. I haven't even touched Paul Stein yet. And now this new Manson documentary is going to be great. I don't know how much of Tom O'Neill's work they're going to put into this. I have no idea if he was involved in this. He's supposedly working on another book. They're catching up with me. Well, I jumped ahead of them by plagiarizing their work. Look, you can't, there's no copyright on a government document. There's no copyright on the truth. That's the thing there. And you still need to read all of their books, and you need to watch their documentaries. But zeroing in, remember, Access Graphics, John Bennett Ramsey, that was a wholly owned subsidiary of Lockheed. And what were they engaged in? Work for the National Reconnaissance Office, this new generation, this first generation of all digital spy satellites, one of which is pointed out into space called the Hubble telescope. You've seen what the James Webb telescope can do, right? Imagine 6 of those pointed back at the Earth. They're watching me now. They can see all of this. Lucky devils. So that's where we are. So in the meantime, you people on the members only, I'm uploading more Lindbergh episodes. You need to watch them because it's a straight line. That's bigger than JFK, actually. It's actually bigger than JFK. And it's the foundation for JFK. But you need to see all of this information whether you like it or not. And I'm going to keep showing it to you as long as you keep paying me. So I uploaded, has anybody even watched it? I did upload without warning. I was going to try to do the next Arthur Lee Allen episode last night. There's too much to do. It's several hundred more slides. So, but none of it, there are a couple of things I need to correct. Here's another thing. I'm going back on Walter Bosley apparently the first week of February. We want to talk more about that. So I sat down and watched that episode. I was expecting to talk about certain things, and we go on the show, and they want to talk about something else. So a couple of things I mentioned off the top of my head, because I didn't have time to, I didn't want to drag the show down looking at my own PowerPoints. I need to correct a couple little things about Jim and his brothers, but they're tiny little things. Other than that, I'll be going on Walter Bosley. We're talking more about the company and all this other stuff in February. So between now and then, I'll try to get you guys ready for that. So has anybody even watched? Because I uploaded it kind of without warning and no pregame. Four of the subscribers have watched. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so keep your eyes open. There will be more Lindbergh episodes. I think there are 6 more episodes I need to upload to you guys that are new, plus the new Zodiac episodes. But you still need to read this book. Because everything you think you know about the Zodiac killer case is lies told by Robert Graysmith, and he tells more of them. He doubles down on some of them. I noticed they completely avoided anything I talk about in my book. But dragging out the poor Seawaters and putting them on TV was a huge mistake if you're trying to prove me wrong, or you're trying to distract attention away from me. And why would they be doing that? I mean, I'm not blaming the makers of that documentary. I'm blaming Graysmith for going on TV and telling huge lies. It's not that the Seawaters lied. It's just they've been used, and they're victims. But when you see about their parents, it's all ties together. That Jim Phillips Crabtree knew those. They all know each other as kids. They knew Paul Stein. He grew up in the same town as Diamond Bell Phillips's kids. Now, he's the same age as Jim, pretty much. Jim's brothers are about 20 years older because they're from previous marriage. I can tell you this, Diamond's last wife, Eleanor Kathleen Crabtree, was the sister of Jim's biological father, who died in 1950. See, Arthur Lee Allen's parents got divorced, and Paul Avery's parents got divorced when he was little, and so Avery was his stepfather, and that matters a lot. You're gonna see this. You're gonna see it's like Berkowitz. It's like Manson. These kids who were not raised by their birth parents or whatever, or were separated from their birth parents at a young age, and these accusations that get made by people like Nancy Krebs that the people involved in these rings, they trade children back and forth, so you're not really abusing your own child. You're going to see this. You're going to see this. This pattern is all over this Zodiac stuff, this latest Zodiac stuff. So then, after all of that, then we can finally talk about the murder of Paul Stein, which I'm going to show you is directly connected to Manson. So I guess go ahead, watch this new Manson documentary. Tell me all about it. Tell me what it's about. I won't have time to watch that for a while. Okay? So, and I just need a little break. I just need a little mental vacation for a couple of weeks before Christmas is over. But I will continue with the Arthur Lee Allen stuff and his dad. It's not about Arthur. I'm not saying he was totally innocent. I'm saying he was framed, and he's certainly not the Zodiac killer. But he and Avery and Cheney and all of these guys, the Seawater kids, they were all used. They were all victims. Mike Mageau and his brother. You know, they got in a gunfight, right? Mike and his twin brother got in a gunfight, right? But and that's not even the most interesting thing. So when I get it done, I'll get it done. It's really now a question of putting the episodes together so they'll make sense to you and they'll build one on top of the other. And that's what I'm really working on right now. Even as we speak. Just trying to figure out, because this next episode is mostly going to be about, the thing about Arthur Lee Allen's father was he was a carrier pilot during World War II, which means, I mean, he knows Paul Avery's stepfather very well. He knows Admiral Avery very well, who also happens to know Admiral Morrison, who's the father of Jim Morrison, who went to the exact same high school as Naomi Cohen, who changed her name to Cass Elliot. Etc., etc., etc. There's so much more to this. We could look at current events really quick. There are a few. There's been a presidential election, if you want to call it that. So now we're getting reruns for presidents. In case you were worried that Trump has gotten boring in his old age, fear not. The kid, 11-year-old, hacked Swiss bank and transferred his father $75 billion. $75 billion, 11-year-old kid. Louisiana reindeer. The E and T is silent. The EA and T is silent. Drew met a guy who sat next. Drew actually met the guy who sat next to D.B. Cooper. Counting illegal ballots in Pennsylvania for a Senate race. Imagine, if you will, living in a world where you can steal everyone's money and still be $36 trillion in debt. Still waiting on season 8 of Rick and Morty. Oh yeah, watch this clip. I can't play the audio, but this guy narrating this National Geographic video. A poster for Star Wars. A guy can only be called Annie so many times before he snaps. This video, this cat. Watch, and when he checks to see if nobody's watching. He's eating normally, and he looks to see if anybody's watching, and he starts shoveling it in his mouth. But he looks to see if anybody's watching first. Milky Way, you are here paying taxes and living in fear. Yeah, jaguars are now baiting crocodiles with piranhas. Have you seen this? OMG. Let's see. You've probably seen this one. The two fish are getting in a pissing contest. Yeah, this one, the cat's standing on his own tail. He's blaming the other cat. Taylor Swift's team frantically trying to erase all traces of her with Diddy from the internet. Is she? Yeah. Chinese hackers breached multiple U.S. telecom providers. Well, welcome to the news. FBI seizes Polymarket CEO's phone and electronics after betting platform predicts Trump win. Instead of asking his lawyer to actually raid his apartment. Yeah. Incontinence hotline, please hold. Yeah, the whole Trump classified documents case, you noticed, it literally was an election year publicity stunt. Yeah, don't forget, Zelensky canceled elections in Ukraine and his term as president expired months ago. Don't forget that. There's not a lot of news for some reason. Canada begins construction of a wall with the U.S. border, and it's a picture of a beaver. Have you seen this one? Yeah, it turns out that Kamala actually paid Oprah $2.5 million, paid for her to appear at a Kamala rally. Lord protect Patty. These are cows at church. From the special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and sesame seed bun, and a cow in the back says, "Hallelujah, hallelujah." Oh, by the way, this is a British reporter. This is The Guardian. This is a British newspaper. I spent hours trying to persuade U.S. voters to choose Harris, not Trump. I know why she lost. Isn't this, by definition, election interference? Foreign media literally calling American voters and trying to get them to change their votes. Isn't that foreign election interference? Yeah, here's actual footage of me after I won an argument with my wife. He's wearing a crown. He's got a crown on. You see, that's the joke. You see her platform shoes? Can you see her platform shoes? This is a Sephardic Jewish girl in Damascus, Syria, 1865. It's hand tinted. Can you see her platform shoes? Do you see that down there? Waiting for PETA to say something about Peanut and Fred. Yeah. You know about Peanut and Fred, right? This guy had rescued this squirrel that missing a leg or something, and he had a OnlyFans, and it was raising money for an animal shelter, and the local animal control came in and seized him and the pet raccoon and took him back and euthanized him. Remember? Did you see that? This was in New York. Now Pelosi saying that they should have had a primary. The Democrats should have had a primary. Maybe it would have turned out different. Yeah, I'm sure it would have turned out a lot different. Is that it? Hi, Shane. Hi, Charles. So Rotting Jules and Manny are still going at it? No wonder it's been so quiet over here. If Beyonce was really for women's rights, why hasn't she spoken up about any of Diddy's victims? Oh, yeah, now they're screaming for Justice Sotomayor to resign now so she can be replaced. Trump's going to appoint a total of 5 Supreme Court justices. No president's done that since George Washington. Single moms in Ur area. I think that's it. Yeah, this is just a guy. He's driving past all the Harris signs saying, "Good game, good game, good game, good game, good game, good game." It's Sportsmanship. Good game, good game, good game. I think you've seen all the rest of these. Yeah, my buddy got his finger caught in a wedding ring. The Addams Family reboot looks way weirder than the original. The Snackle Box. I think you've seen all of these. So have I wasted enough of your time this morning? Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel actually cried about Trump winning. Well, he gave a lot of money so he could be on stage at the inauguration with the new president of the United States. And all that money went down the drain. Like all of that money went $1 billion and counting straight down the drain. Look how much that job is worth. Is this a deep fake? It's a deep fake, right? That's a deep fake. That's not actually Tim Waltz, right? Is that it? Google admits, where can I vote? Feature favored Harris over Trump. Viking explorer Thorbob returns home after discovering Texas. Oh, yeah. I've been saying this. When did Democrats suddenly become blue and Republicans become red? Because it used to be Democrats were red. Then they bitched. Well, we're not commies, so they switched colors like it mattered. Show more squirrels, please. Yeah, I like this because, you know, if oil can float on water, put oil on your feet and walk on over the ocean. Simple. And then it's just about Neil Dumbass Tyson and Stephen W. Hawkinson. They're holding back Einstein, who looks at you like, calm down, calm down. It's just cute. It's just, I love these. The lady who forgot her chair was a filter. Have I told you this story? I have virtual reality, I have HTC Vive, and I have a headless set. There's a really good ping pong game, and there are times when I have dived for the ball and there's no table to hold me up, and I have fallen through the table and smacked the floor wearing that headset. Yeah, this video of local news. Taylor Swift is not like how the local news is, how news is scripted. There's one script. My child won't eat meat. What can I replace it with? A dog. Dogs love meat. Yeah, I think you've seen all of these. This was a really good idea. Cheesecake deviled strawberries. This is a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, Aaron Judge dropping. I mean, I know the Yankees lost 4 other games, but still, or 3 other games, but still. Careful, they have technology that makes you stupid. Yeah. Yeah, before the election, Nate Silver said that the pollsters were lying about the polls. Goth corn, better known as corn on the macabre. Okay, I'm going to get off here. I'll have the chicken breast. Hold the chicken. So the next episode will be done this week. I don't know when. It's not that it's close. Probably going to keep up with the more of the shorter episodes. So it's going to be Arthur Lee Allen being framed and why these people would pick Arthur Lee Allen and just go from there. I'm just mentally exhausted. I don't know about you people. Just mentally exhausted. And anybody knows anything about Patty Hearst, hit me up. Because right after Zodiac is Death Angels or Zebra Killings, and right after that is Patty Hearst. Don't forget that. But we got so much more Zodiac, and now with the new Manson documentary coming, I can show you not just vague connections between Zodiac and Manson, not just general connections, but I will show you who shot and killed Paul Stein and why, and what that has to do with Manson. That's coming up. That'll be after Christmas. Okay? Good night. God bless. Please, take care of yourselves and each other, and please, please, please spay and neuter your cannibals. I'm Professor Thomas Henry Horan, asking you to please stay plugged in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
He reads everything.
You better bet your bippies he reads everything.